Hello, my name is Bob Willis, and welcome to Winnie TV here at SMTconnect. I have the pleasure of having two gentlemen, engineers in the industry, Adrian and John, and we're going to talk about manufacturing, but we're also going to be talking about the lack of skills that are in the industry. John, first of all, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and also, what's the main feature that you're looking at introducing at the show?
Hi Bob. So my name is John Vickers. I work for Advanced Rework Technology in the UK. We are an IPC training provider and electronics training provider.
Adrian, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
So I'm Adrian Radu. I'm the European Sales Manager for ScienceScope, and we have manufacturing systems, or let's say inspection systems, from material management to X-ray inspection to optical inspection that is helping the industry go forward and reduce the stress on the operators and the responsibilities by giving them full data.
So we had a little conversation previously that apparently back was it 20 years ago, I helped you with a soldering problem. So yes, I'm still in the industry, still doing a little bit, but not too much. Now, it was interesting to look at your range of products. It seems that you strategically, you're looking at all the way through the system of managing materials and providing inspection. Obviously, one of the discussion points is about skills, but you're looking at providing solutions in two areas.
So the way that we are working, we want to take care of the problems from the beginning and make sure that we don't have it at the end. That's why we take everything from incoming goods, where you have the incoming stations that is helping you reduce, or better say, eliminate any human error on processing and putting the right label, to storage, to counting for traceability, and then at the end we have the X-ray inspection that is making sure there is no error on the soldering side. So in this way you have the systems that provides you the data and make sure there is no problem. Of course, this needs to be operated, but by using such systems you reduce the operating risk close to zero.
Okay, that's good. John, have you seen in your experience within the industry, when you're actually training staff, do they highlight the problem of lack of skills in the industry?
We find our company are contacted regularly. We do trade shows, obviously we go out to training, we get customers that come in. And for the past 6 to 8 months, we find that there's companies that are desperately trying to find staff that is just not available at the moment. We find at the moment that we're doing a lot of training that is aimed at introducing people that have never worked within the industry to work within. So basic hand soldering at the moment seems to be a key area that we seem to be doing a lot of work in.
Now, in terms of, we were talking earlier about you perhaps doing a little bit more of bespoke training for companies. Are you starting to look at perhaps providers of equipment and taking on training responsibility with them? So like a company like Adrian's, he could perhaps provide you with customers to do training for him and vice versa. Because as a trainer, myself, for many years, I love new things, learning new things. Do you think that there's opportunities there?
Yeah, definitely. And it's not just training in regards to how to do your job. It's introducing new equipment to be able to do that easier. It's where companies like ScienceScope benefit as they introduce new equipment, they upgrade equipment, and they get people to use this equipment. It aids in them being able to do their work far easier.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, putting equipment in facilities, I know it's expensive, but perhaps there is an opportunity. It's putting it in the public eye, but also it's allowing companies like John's to take on some of the responsibility. I know that you want to be in control of the training to make sure the quality is there, but if you build up a relationship, I think that's important and useful to you in the long term, perhaps.
So there are 2 points on this discussion. One point is that what John mentioned, that there are a lot of movement when it comes to people. Yes, especially these days, operators come and go every week. So let's take on the example on the incoming. It is very hard to do training on incoming receiving because you need to go in 5-10 different menus to do a simple receiving. By implementing a system like ours, then the only thing that the operator needs to do it is scan the PO number, the delivery node number, and then place the reel. Everything else is done by the integration between our system, the data that we are using, and the client's ERP. So the training from 3 days and making sure that there is no mistake reduced to 5 minutes, 10 minutes training, scan, place, and that's it. But on the other hand, this type of collaborations between our systems and trainers, specialized trainers like John's and Art, then it comes on our side, I would say, as a benefit because it will even reduce that part. Of course, there is the training on how to utilize the system, but having this training with them as a partner, then they will, one, make the life of the operator much easier. Second, they can be a beneficial promotion because in the end, on the X-ray inspection, yes, you can have all the data. The program will do the inspection automatically, but you still need to have a good training on how to interpret the data, regardless.
We were having this discussion earlier that you can have the slickest, most incredible machines, but you still have to look at real things. And it's like rework. When you're looking at a new product you're going to rework, you need to look at the product you're going to rework to decide on how you're going to do it. You might have a procedure, but inevitably there's modifications. So how do you deal with some going from simple boards to very complex boards from a rework perspective?
For us, it's going to be equipment based, and getting companies to understand that they are going to have to invest in equipment is sometimes quite a difficult situation that we find ourselves in. As a training provider, we try to use the most up-to-date types of equipment, whether it's soldering irons or inspection equipment. The issue that we then find is that we teach individuals or companies using our equipment, and then they find that the equipment that they're using on a day-to-day basis already is not necessarily fit for purpose. I don't believe that you'll ever be able to do the job correctly unless you're using the right equipment to be able to do the job. I think investment is crucial and is continuous.
So what sort of questions do you get asked sometimes which relate to sort of automated inspection, like X-ray or AOI? Are the specific areas where some of the staff are coming into you and saying, well, we have this system, but it doesn't really do what we want to do? Do you come across that much?
When it comes to AOI especially, it's only as good as the person that knows how to use the equipment. Training is essential. And no piece of automated equipment will ever work unless the person that is using it knows how to use it correctly. Because even if you follow the manual, there are always subtle differences in how equipment works. If you have two pieces of machinery that are identical, they will never work identically, and it's the person that is using it that understands and works out how these little tweaks need to be carried out to use the machine properly.
It's an interesting point. I remember working in a computer manufacturer, and we had 4 lines. We all had the 4 exactly the same machines, built exactly the same time, and there were certain variations in the physical machine. This was with convection machines, different convection rates, and it's sort of something that wasn't measured at that time. So it's just interesting that you raise that particular point. I think a lot of equipment manufacturers have improved the quality checks they do are more production related before they ship the product nowadays. In terms of X-ray, what do you see as the number one problem that people highlight to you?
When it comes to X-ray, it's not about the capability of the system or how the system will do, because our system is let's say on the peak of the technology and provides, but you need to train the operator on how to grab that X-ray image. What is a good X-ray image for the system to apply the algorithms and to extract the data? Because same board, same system, if you train the program in small variation, the grayscale will be different, and then the system can detect or not enough. And the same applies, I was thinking now when you're talking, John, I was remembering when I was process engineer on conformal coating, the variation on the conformal coating, yes? In the same process, same board, same everything, in the summers especially, in the morning, it is a little bit colder, but in the afternoon, it is completely hot, regardless of how good is the AC inside of that unit. So then with the 2 degrees deviation in temperature, your conformal coating process will change. So as good as a conformal coating machine will be, you still need the operator to be trained, to make these small adjustments.
Yeah, understanding the process. I mean, conformal coating, obviously, more and more companies are actually demanding full inspection of conformal coating materials. But it's getting the process right, understanding what is required, and then setting the standards on the AOI. So, John, if we talk about rework for a moment, what do you feel are challenges on understanding and reworking conformal coated boards?
So it's definitely going to be down to materials. Obviously, different materials work in slightly different ways, and different materials have different thicknesses. So I would say, again, understanding the material that you're using, the way in which it's applied to the assembly equally, whether it's covering the board completely, whether it's selective in how the material is placed on the board, areas of the board that need to be free of conformal coating, and then obviously, different ways in which they need to be removed. Most conformal coatings, as a rule, are soluble with alcohol, but there are some conformal coatings that are definitely far more difficult to remove, and you might have to adjust the process to allow that.
Yeah, I tend to use one technique for all conformal coatings. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's guaranteed to work. My thanks to John and Adrian for being part of this discussion. My name is Bob Willis here at SMTconnect for Winnie TV.